the scoreboard figures to be on overdrive as the Saints roll into town to meet the Broncos on Sunday Night Football. Degrees, clear skies in Denver, and that provides a perfect canvas for two guys who've taken their craft to an art form. Drew Brees leading his Saints into the Rockies to take on Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos on Sunday Night Football. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle DeFoya, welcome to Denver. The Saints come in after starting the year 0-4 with 2 straight wins. They're 2-4. You know about Bountygate. You know Sean Payton's gone for the year. Meanwhile, Joe Vitt was named the interim coach, and then he got suspended for 6 games, but he is back tonight. Drew Brees has been brilliant over the last month, and make no mistake about it. If the Saints win this game tonight, they are right back in the playoff hunt. Now, the Broncos are 3-3. 2 weeks ago, they were down 24-0 to San Diego on a Monday night and came from behind to win by 11. Come off a bye week, Peyton Manning getting more and more comfortable, and the Mile High City right now is sky high over the Broncos. Chris, first the Saints scoring 29 points a game, great offense, giving up 30 points a game, terrible defense. So what's the formula tonight to give them the best chance to win this game?
Well, they have had success in the past against Peyton Manning. Go back to Super Bowl 44. A couple of guys, Joe Vitt, Jonathan Vilma, matching audible for audible with Peyton Manning in that particular game. But now Steve Spagnuolo takes over as the defensive coordinator, so it's going to be interesting to see how that changes.
Speaking of Manning, of course, it was the big story in the offseason. Didn't play last year. Indianapolis lets him go for neck surgeries. A lot of mystery surrounding him before the season started. We're almost at the halfway mark. What do you think?
Well, the first 3 games he was good. But the last 3 games, he's been Peyton Manning, 4-time MVP, kind of good. And tonight he goes up against what is statistically the worst defense in football. So maybe the biggest challenge he's going to have, trying to match points with Drew Brees and company. It should be some show out of it.
Should be great. Big-time marquee matchup in Denver tonight. Peyton Manning, 3rd all-time with 413 career touchdown passes. The next one from Drew Brees will be his 300th on Sunday Night Football.
Sunday Night Football is brought to you by NFL Mobile from Verizon, built to bring you the game. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. And by Hyundai, new thinking, new possibilities. Spanish audio provided by Telemundo. NBC Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
He's in his 14th season in the league and still very much at the top of his game. He's Broncos defensive back Champ Bailey. Moments ago, he spoke with Michelle.
This is a game featuring two tremendous quarterbacks, and Champ, it's the job of your defense to make sure one of them doesn't have a big night. So what are the must-dos for slowing down and neutralizing Drew Brees and his offense?
Well, you know, I've been reading all week. They want to get the run game going, so we definitely can't let them start running the ball. Drew, it's going to be Drew. You know, we kind of limit the big plays and just take it to him. Make sure we rattle him a little bit.
You are one of the most decorated corners in the NFL. What is your mindset when you get ready to go up against a guy like Drew Brees?
Hey, just do your job, really. You know, stay focused. I mean, it's really not rocket science. It's go out there, do what you've been practicing all week.
Champ, thanks very much.
Thank you.
And for the second straight game, Bailey will be without his usual counterpart in the secondary, former Saints cornerback Tracy Porter. For the past 2 weeks, Porter has had health issues related to a seizure he had back in August and was not medically cleared to play tonight. Meanwhile, the Saints get back one of their most potent weapons on offense. Jimmy Graham, the tight end who missed last week with a high right ankle sprain, will start, Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. And Graham, of course, can be a game changer, a difference maker. Meanwhile, a little bit of history here. It's the first time in the history of the league both starting quarterbacks have thrown 3 or more touchdown passes in each of his last 3 games. Joe Vitt, a lifer. He's been a long-time assistant coach. He's been in the league since 1979, was suspended for 6 games as part of the Bounty Gate thing, but he'll be the coach the rest of the year. And John Fox, a long time at Carolina in the NFC South, second year here, so he knows the Saints and he knows Drew Brees very well. 6-4 against the Saints, 5-4 when Brees was the quarterback, so familiar territory for him. Matt Prater will kick off for Denver, where over the past 2 seasons, since they moved the kickoff line to the 35-yard line, about 81% of the kicks have wound up as touchbacks. So Darren Sproles, one of the best in the league at running them back, will have about a 1 in 5 chance here, if it goes according to Hoyle. And off we go now from Denver, and indeed it does, as the kick goes out of the end zone. And let's take a look at the Saints offense.
Drew Brees, Purdue Boilermaker. Pierre Thomas, Illinois.
Jedediah Gabriel Collins, Washington State.
Marcus Colston, Hofstra University.
Devery Henderson, LSU.
Jimmy Graham, the U. Jamon Bushrod, Towson University. Ben Grubbs, Auburn University.
Brian Delapuente, Cal Berkeley.
Jari Evans, Bloomsburg University.
Zach Streif, Northwestern University.
Now the Saints start from the 20-yard line, and they'll begin with an empty backfield, with Brees taking the snap. 5 receivers go out, and the first pass of the game is incomplete. Tries to go to Marcus Colston, covered there by Bailey. So Brees, a slow start this year, but then you go back to his last 3 games, which includes the loss to Green Bay and wins over San Diego and Tampa Bay. 11 TDs, 2 interceptions, and completing 2/3 of his passes. 2nd and 10. Pierre Thomas is the running back, and they'll give it to him on 2nd down. And Thomas chugging ahead, and Thomas gains a lot of yards after contact. And there's an example right there. Woodyard making the stop, sets up a 3rd down and 3.
Well, the Saints definitely want to get their running game going. They get an extra offensive lineman in the game here in place of the tight end. They're trying to get a little more manageable with some of these 3rd down plays instead of always having to complete a long ball.
Brees again going empty on 3rd down and 3. And sliding in the pocket and then throwing incomplete as the secondary and the linebackers do their job. Danny Trevathan, the rookie out of Kentucky, covering Jimmy Graham, and it's throwing it out for the Saints.
And the question is going to be is how is that ankle for Jimmy Graham? Pretty good cut off of that. Ball maybe thrown just a bit behind. Trevathan, the young man who's starting to make his mark, especially in pass defense, came up big there.
Thomas Morstead averaging better than 51 yards a punt and kicking it in the mile-high air here. And this is Trendon Holiday, who came over a couple of weeks ago from the Houston Texans, making the fair catch at the 32-yard line. Let's take a look right now at the Denver starters.
Peyton Manning, University of Tennessee.
Willis McGahee, Miami. Demarius Thomas, Georgia Tech.
Eric Decker, Minnesota.
Brandon Stokely, Louisiana Lafayette.
Joel Dreesen, Colorado State.
Ryan Clady, Boise State.
Zane Beatles, Utah. Go Utes.
Dan Copen, Boston College.
Chris Cooper, North Dakota.
Orlando Franklin,
The U, by way of Toronto, Canada.
Copen, the longtime former Patriot, and Clady, one of the best left tackles in the league. And they start with a run on first down and hand the ball off to Willis McGahee, tackled by Roman Harper. After a gain of 6, it'll be second down and 4. Per usual, Peyton Manning, no huddle here, right up to the line. And it's at the 49-yard line, incomplete. Dreesen was there, Harper right with him, and that will set up a third down and 4 for Manning.
They just ran a sort of double in cut on the outside. Pretty good throw here, but Roman Harper able to come in and break this one up just at the last second. Looked like Dreesen actually caught it, and Harper just sort of forced it out.
Decker's their leading receiver with 34 catches. Demarius Thomas will be next with 32. Manning sliding right and into traffic, and Stokely will get the flag that he was looking for. Longtime buddy of his, Stokely. 2 flags, in fact, on the play. There's one back at the 30 and then one up at the 44. Mike Carey is the referee.
There were fouls on both teams. Pass interference, defense number 27, holding offense number 76. Those fouls offset, they're down.
Jenkins the interference, and then Orlando Franklin with the hold.
Malcolm Jenkins just going to come over the top just a bit early before the ball got there, and then Orlando Franklin on the right side of your screen. There's a pretty obvious hold there.
So it's third down and 4 now with the ball at the 37-yard line. And Manning might have had that one deflected. Curtis Lofton came close to intercepting it, and now it's 4th down.
Well, Jonathan Vilma has been in this chess match before with Peyton Manning. Look at him. They're all up here in a blitz look, and it's going to force Peyton to make his decision, his audible right now. They drop out, drop right underneath the hot read there, Jacob Tammy. And so now both offenses go 3 and out.
Yeah, who would have thought with Manning and Breeze that it's a 3 and out for each. And already the second punt of the game, Britton Colquitt to send it down towards Sproles. Ever dangerous. Sproles will call for the fair catch and make it at the 19-yard line.
His own guy
contacted by his own guy,
right.
So there's no flag. Breeze and company back to work in Denver. Sunday Night Football being brought to you by Southwest Airlines. You can find our fares online only at southwest.com. By Toyota Care, caring for you and your car. By Windows 8 and by McDonald's. I'm loving it. Yep. Wednesday night. Halloween.
Glad they didn't do that little surprise for us. Remember that a couple years ago? They brought up the skeleton behind us.
Heart rate went to about 180. So Breeze and Manning each start 0 for their first 2. Fake toss. There's the first completion of the game. It goes to Jimmy Graham. And the tight end coming back after missing a game with the ankle injury picks up 13, tackled by Bailey.
This is good play calling here. They ran this little pitch to Sproles a couple of times last week, so they come out and go bootleg off of it with Jimmy Graham just shuffling out the backside of it. Sometimes film study can actually work against you. And with a little chip, release, get the ball in his hands, and get him settled.
On first down from the 33-yard line. And Thomas turns around and accepts the pass. To the outside he goes. And Pierre Thomas, Breeze calling him an unsung hero. Nice game. Let's check the Bronco defense here.
Derek Wolf, Cincinnati.
Kevin Vickerson, Michigan State, Spartan Dogs.
Justin Bannon, Colorado.
Elvis Dumerville, University of Louisville. Vaughn Miller, Texas A&M.
Keith Brooking, Georgia Tech.
Wesley Woodyard, Kentucky.
Champ Bailey, University of Georgia.
Mike Adams, Delaware Blue Hens.
Raheem the Dream Moore, UCLA.
Chris Harris, Kansas University.
Dumerville and Miller, the guys to keep an eye on. Here goes Thomas, and Thomas will pick up the first down up to the 44 early. Before the kickoff, Champ Bailey saying that Breeze would establish or try to that running game. They're last in the league in rushing, but they're going to try to stick with it as much as they can.
Yeah, and Pierre Thomas is a guy that is a good back. You kind of get lost as a running back with this offense because they can do so many things throwing the football, but clearly it's going to take pressure off of Drew Brees and this offensive line if they can establish something running the ball.
Well, that says it right there on the graphic. First in passing, last in rushing. Striving for more balance. And Brees hangs in the pocket, and then the ball comes loose. At the 36, there's also a flag down. Derek Wolf, picked in the second round. The rookie out of Cincinnati was the guy who stripped it. And Mike Harry will give us the call.
Offside. Defense number 92. 5-yard penalty. First and 5 yards.
That was Dumerville, so it turns into a free play.
Well, there's no doubt that Zach Strief is the guy under fire. Here's Dumerville right here, just barely offside. You see the chip coming from the fullback, Jed Collins. And yet it's Derek Wolf coming over. Yeah, I think there's no doubt about it, don't you, Al? Looked like he was across that red line. And what a bad break for Derek Wolf and the Broncos. This Derek Wolf has turned into the third pass rushing threat on this team that was greatly needed. You know about Vaughn Miller and Elvis Dumerville. He has become a threat himself now.
Meanwhile, that play clock all the way down on 1st and 5 with Mark Ingram in the backfield, and the Saints have to take a timeout. Breeze pleading his case with Carey about the play clock. Timeout. For the whole viewing experience, log on right there, NBCSports.com, SNF Extra. Michelle reporting from the field. Chat with Mike Florio. Deuce McAllister is our guest social media analyst tonight, all at Sunday Night Football Extra. We mentioned that Drew Brees was pleading the case, and he has won the case. They're going to get the timeout back, are the Saints, because after the penalty, they start the play clock at 25 seconds, but the officials were slow in spotting the ball. And because of that, Carey gives the timeout back to the Saints. So they have all three remaining in the first half. And we're back to 1st down and 5. With England picking the first round last year. Heisman Trophy winner trying to get around the corner. Can't at this particular point. Woodyard making the stop. Now the Saints, Pierre Thomas is their top back right now. You've got Sproles and Ingram, as we say, their second choice in the first round last year. Played, of course, at Alabama. Wins the Heisman, son of the former New York Giant wideout, but a guy trying to get more time, and right now averaging less than 3 yards per carry. Little toss now to Sproles. To the outside he goes, and he can't get by Vaughn Miller, number 2 pick overall in the draft behind Cam Newton last year.
Vaughn Miller is going to get away with a little bit of a horse collar here. He's going to grab the back of Darren Sproles' jersey, realize he had it, and let go. But I don't think there's any question that had something to do with the fact that the tackle was made, so Broncos catch a break.
They're right on the edge. 3rd and 8. That's Sproles lining up wide left and coming back in motion. So a 3-receiver bunch on that side, and the pass into traffic is tipped and incomplete. Intended for Devery Henderson, who is very well covered, and it's 4th down and 8.
Well, it looked like they were going to have a shot thrown just a little bit behind Henderson here as he goes up towards the post, but this Denver Broncos defense has been reshuffled in the secondary with Tracy Porter out, and against San Diego, they were fantastic for a bunch of young players. We'll get into some of those details.
That second punt, his first went 41 yards. Jim Leonard back, and he's going to let it bounce, and the Saints are going to down the ball at the 2-yard line with 9:18 to go in the opening quarter here in Denver. Manning's worksheet over his last 3 games that includes victories over Oakland and San Diego and a loss at New England. And Jonathan Vilma, we talked about him at the top. So much to talk about with Vilma, of course, in the Bounty Gate situation. That's still up in the air, coming back off knee surgery. And, of course, you had the Manning-Vilma head-to-head in the Super Bowl 3 years ago as McGahee tries to give Manning some breathing space out to the 7-yard line, tackled by Junior Gillette. Take a look at the Saints defense.
Cameron Jordan, UC Berkeley.
Tom Johnson, University of Southern Miss.
Cedric Ellis, USC.
Will Smith, The Ohio State.
Curtis Lofton, Oklahoma.
Jonathan Vilma, the U.
Jabari Greer, Jackson, Tennessee.
Roman Harper,
Alabama.
Malcolm Jenkins, The Ohio State University. Corey White, Stanford University.
Pat Robinson, Florida State.
And here is McGahee again, and McGahee with back-to-back runs to take them from the 2 out to the 19-yard line, where he's tackled by the safety Malcolm Jenkins.
Well, one of the differences now for the Saints is Jonathan Vilma right here is playing the will linebacker because Curtis Lofton's playing the middle. It's a position he has almost no experience with. They cut right back into him on that play, and maybe that's part of the formula here. There it is again.
Yep, there it is. And McGahee, gain of 7. He's tripped up by Roman Harper. So you have a team playing no huddle and hurry up that plays at altitude against a team from a city, a good part of which is below sea level. Steve Spagnuolo, formerly with the Giants, helped guide them to that Super Bowl win against New England, that shocking one following the 07 season. Most recently head coach at St. Louis, now the defensive coordinator, and McGahee again gets it out to the 28-yard line. So they called his number on every play on this drive to this point, and he'll need a break.
Well, the new center for the Denver Broncos is a familiar name for a lot of us. Dan Copen was the center for Tom Brady for all those years, was released this season, and John Fox feeling like, boy, you know, the one position you better make sure you have somebody who knows what they're doing, center. And sure enough, J.D. Walton, the starting center, got hurt, and after about 2 weeks trying to learn Peyton Manning's offense, it was Copen in there.
Now you got the rookie Ronnie Hillman in as the running back, the fake to him. Manning steps up with great protection deep downfield. Demaryius Thomas makes the catch, tackled at the 31 of the Saints.
A double post route here, quarters coverage, which means Demaryius Thomas is going to be one-on-one against Patrick Robinson. And talking with Peyton the other day, he said, I've got to give my big physical wide receivers a chance to just go up and make plays. There you saw it.
The 6'3", 230-pound Thomas, 31-yard line. Handoff to Hillman, the rookie out of San Diego State. And Chris, so much made about Manning. Would his arm strength be there? How healthy would he be? And over the past couple of weeks, he's been launching them with great success.
Yeah, he did. Of course, he had the bad night in Atlanta.
Early,
but then you see the numbers. This guy, and it's especially been down the field. You know, only a couple of deep balls the first couple of games, but since then he's been lighting it up.
2nd down and 6. Good protection, going deep again, and incomplete. Intended for Eric Decker, who was covered by Jabari Greer. It'll be 3rd down and 6.
Well, again, it's that same quarters coverage, which means you're going to have your cornerback right there on an island because the safety has the tight end going up the field against that coverage. And so far, the Saints have kind of been sticking with that coverage, and Peyton saying, oh, boy, I should have had that one. That was an easy, no safety in the middle, shot at a post.
Right here, Lion.
3rd and 6. Sending 5 receivers out. Pass to the outside, and that is Tammy, who played with Peyton at Indianapolis, reaching for the 1st down. So on 3rd down and 6, he gets 6.5 and comes away limping.
Well, they got a lot of the old Colt stuff going. I can recognize a lot of this stuff. They're going to have a little outside here rub as the guy comes up and gets the safety, not picking him, but just running a route through there so you can get to the out and pick up the first down.
From the 21 with McGahee in the backfield. We give it to him again. Real good series from McGahee to the 14. He goes, tackled there by Roman Harper.
It's really been kind of a double team action. Watch this over here. Double team, moving them off the ball, and that cutback lane has been there. That's what they're trying to get to. You can tell that the Saints are a little unsettled because they've got some guys that haven't played in that particular position a lot.
2nd and 3. Pressure is on. Manning throws. Caught by McGahee. McGahee will take the ball to almost to the goal line. And one official comes in and signals touchdown.
How in the world did he get that ball in there? Both linebackers blitzing. Both these guys coming. And somehow...
Yeah.
I mean, that's like throwing darts.
Yeah. See if he gets in. One official came in and was ready to spot the ball just short. The other said, no, it's a touchdown. And they'll review it obviously upstairs as they do all scoring plays.
That first knee looked like it hit down, but where was the ball? Let's see.
Right.
First knee right there.
Well, it should be over right there. So you see where the knee is. Where is the ball the moment the knee hits the ground? They check upstairs. At worst, it's 1st and goal from the 2-inch line. Meanwhile, McGahee needs some attention. That was a 98-yard drive. And they're taking a look at it. So they'll check it out. McGahee needs to be checked out as well. Either a touchdown or 1st and goal upcoming. Still waiting for the call. The call on the field, a touchdown. The way we're looking at it on replay, it looks like his knee touches down before the ball hits the goal line or gets to the goal line right there. So my guess is it's going to be 1st down and goal from the 2-inch line.
Yeah, Malcolm Jenkins made the tackle that saved the touchdown. Remember last week he made a play that will be remembered for a long time if the Saints turn their season around. Look at this throw in here. I don't know how McGahee saw it to catch it.
Here's Mike Carey.
After review, the runner's knee was down while the ball was at the 1.5-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal from the 1.5.
All right, so McGahee for the moment has a touchdown taken away. This drive started back at the 2-yard line. So they're trying to culminate what would be a 98-yard drive, something that Manning accomplished twice in his career with the Colts.
Well, keep an eye on Malcolm Jenkins, number 27 down here. He sort of plays that Troy Polamalu role. He'll be coming hard off the edge, and he made a few plays against the Buccaneers a week ago doing that.
And on 1st and goal, and McGahee will make it official this time as he gets into the end zone. Seven runs and only 4 passes on that drive, 98 yards.
Big guys right here, Joel Greason, Orlando Franklin, everybody the down block. And how about that for a 31-year-old running back still leading the way for the Denver Broncos.
Former Bill, former Raven, played at the University of Miami, had a terrible knee injury at the end of his college career, but he's had a pretty good NFL career. And Matt Prater kicks the extra point. Manning leads him 98, and Denver's up 7-zip. Great event beginning Friday. 2 of the richest days in horse racing come to NBC and the NBC Sports Network. Coverage of the Breeders' Cup from Santa Anita on the NBC Sports Network. All leading up to the big race, the Breeders' Cup Classic, next Saturday prime time, 8 p.m. Eastern time on NBC.
Got the horse trailer sound effects in there, didn't we?
The whole thing.
Maybe they're going to take the horse trailer out there.
We come prepared. It's awesome music, the whole thing. The Broncos up 7-0. And Prater's kick results in another touchback. It's interesting what's been going on this year. By half, Breeze in the first half has been very hot. 11 TDs, 2 picks, second highest rating. And then you've got Manning in the second half, and this speaks to what Denver's done with their comebacks this year. 124 rating in the second half with 11 touchdowns, no picks. And of course, it came up in spades during the San Diego game a week ago Monday when they trailed 24-0 at the half and won 35-24. But tonight, a hot start for the Broncos, up 7-0. And Breeze on first down with a pump fake, and he'll go deep, and it's incomplete. It looked like Devery Henderson was going to come up with it. Bailey is right with him. It'll be second down.
Well, they came out in a run formation there, fullback and tailback, and then they're just going to take the shot off of play action. And actually, it was there. Henderson was behind Champ Bailey off to your left. And somehow Champ just distracted Henderson enough to make him miss this ball. Or he just dropped it. One of those two, I'm pretty sure.
Right there.
Wow.
Second and 10. And here's Thomas. And Thomas stopped there for a short game. New defensive coordinator for Denver, and they've been changing year after year after year here for a number of years, is Jack Del Rio, the former head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, who comes over. Dennis Allen was their defensive coordinator last year, and that led to the head coaching job with the Oakland Raiders. So Jack calling the defensive shots, and of course he's got a defense with a couple of superstars in Miller and Doomerville, and Champ Bailey, obviously. Third down and 7 from the 23-yard line. It's a 4-man rush. Now a fifth comes in late, and Breeze has the ball extracted on the ground. Mike Carey taking a look. The play is alive. Wesley Woodyard came in and creates the fumble. And they'll untangle it, and let's see who's got possession of the ball at the 11-yard line. Started with a conventional 4-man rush, added one more, and somehow, some way at the bottom of that pile is a New Orleans Saint.
I think Breeze thought Wesley Woodyard, who's going to blitz right here, was going to take the back coming out. Instead, he goes up the field. The safety jumps the back, and Woodyard comes up with what could have been a huge turnover.
And then Doomerville almost comes up with the football, but now the ball is still loose.
Oh, he tried to pick it up.
He did. And the Saints wind up with the recovery, making it 4th and 19, bringing Morstead into punt. And this is Holiday, until a couple of weeks ago, a Houston Texan, taking it to the 48-yard line. 3 minutes to go in the quarter. 7-0 Broncos.
If you like football, you have to like Malcolm Jenkins. His hustle a week ago, they hope, will be the defining play of this season. Vincent Jackson down at the bottom of your screen is going to catch a ball, and looks like he's just going to walk in the end zone from here. And yet it's Jenkins flying from across the field that runs down Vincent Jackson, and then the goal line stand from there. The Bucs got no points out of that, and the game was turned around.
Now Denver starting with a short field. To the outside goes the rookie Ronnie Hillman. Gain of 2. That would be a defining play. The other would be in the San Diego game 2 weeks ago on Sunday Night Football, when Breeze had thrown an interception that was run back for a touchdown that would have given San Diego a 3-possession lead. The personal foul on the rookie linebacker Melvin Ingram. New Orleans kept possession, scored, won the game coming from behind, and they've won 2 straight. 2nd and 8. Pass to the outside, and that is Virgil Green making the catch, and his knee goes down at about the 41-yard line, making it 3rd down and 4.
Well, if the Vikings, if the Saints are going to win this game tonight, they're going to have to get some rush out of that front 4, because you want to keep as many people in coverage as you possibly can on the back end. So that front 4 really has to be better than what they've been.
If the Vikings win this game, we've got the scoop of all time.
Here's Adrian Peterson when you need him.
3rd and 4 from the 42-yard line. Inside handoff, but stopped short of the first down, and the ball is loose. The ball is out. That was McGahee, who got hit by Akeem Hicks, the rookie from Canada. and they turn the ball over. That is the 10th Bronco fumble this season, and they've recovered none of them.
Akeem Hicks, first time starting for the Saints, taking over for Broderick Bunkley. He really made an impression in the game last week, and I guess he's making a big impression in this one as well. Saints desperately needed a play, and they turned to a new starter to get it done.
Curtis Lofton, the former Falcon, recovers it. And now Breeze goes to work near midfield. First down from his own 45-yard line. A minute 45 to go in the quarter. Breeze under pressure. Out to the 48 for a gain of 3. Woodyard making the tackle. Second down and 7. Mentioned that the Broncos have not recovered any of their own fumbles. 12th straight game losing a fumble, tying the longest streak in a decade and a half. Fumbles are normally it's a 50-50 proposition. You fumble 10 times, you should recover 5 of them. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Second and 7 from the 48. Breeze, that shoulder turn, and then he hits Colston, who's just had a tremendous run from the end of September on, and he has a first down at the 36-yard line on a gain of 16 yards.
Give David Thomas a little credit here. They're going to try and block him with Roby coming off the edge, but David Thomas just enough, and Drew Brees sort of like an Aaron Rodgers type of play, able to move around enough to buy a little time and get that completion in. But the movement skills of Drew Brees as he peeks over the top of his offensive lineman there, the difference on that one.
Colston is #1 receiver. That's his 36th catch of the season. First tonight. Short drop, quick pass, and it's caught by Lance Moore for a gain of 6 yards. Second down and 4.
Well, I tell you, Lance Moore had some game a week ago, 9 catches for 121 yards. Jimmy Graham, the great tight end, had to miss the game, and it was a third down show put on by Lance Moore in that one.
And that's the end of the first quarter with the score. Denver 7, New Orleans nothing. Sunday Night Football back after this. At nearby downtown Denver. Tonight's aerial coverage being brought to you by Geico. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya in the Mile High City as we start the second quarter. Denver coming in 3-3. Saints coming in 2-4. And a second down and 3 for New Orleans at the Denver 29-yard line. Breeze throws over the middle, catching it on the run is Darren Sproles in for the touchdown. And a mile-high salute by the former San Diego Chargers, who's had some big days against the Broncos. And 50 straight games with a touchdown pass and 300 career TD passes for Breeze.
Sproles going to come out, looked like he was going to chip on Doomerville and did not. Give Bushrod credit, the left tackle, for being able to hold up in the protection over there. And Breeze just drilled it, and you get the feeling both quarterbacks have their warm-ups off now.
They cash in after the turnover, as the extra point by Hartley is good. So 300 career touchdown passes for Breeze. Tied for 6th most in NFL history, tied with John Elway at 300. And there is John, the major domo now of the Denver Broncos, looking on, watching Breeze work his magic. And 50 straight games with a touchdown pass. He eclipsed Unitas in that San Diego game back in early October. And you can see how quickly he's gotten there. The guys who have reached the milestone, a double milestone, 161 for both Brady and Breeze, to get to that figure with Marino and Peyton Manning at 157.
He's a pretty remarkable guy, and when he gets hot, he gets really hot. In the game against the Bucs a week ago, 313 yards and 4 touchdowns in the first half. I mean, that is what these two guys are capable of doing, and that fumble really changed the complexion of this game. It looked like Peyton Manning was under control. They had the field position in their favor, and you give that guy a break, and he's going to put 7 on the board in a hurry.
Then after the Saints fumbled and Doomerville couldn't pick it up, it was Breeze who wound up on top of the football to at least keep possession. They punted, but that led to the McGahee fumble in midfield, and in they go. And this kickoff will sail through the end zone.
Here comes Sproles. Watch the move on Trevathan. Trevathan, number 59, jumped completely out to the right. And Darren Sproles has been a nightmare for the Broncos for a long time. This guy has been around, of course, his days with the San Diego Chargers. But big play after big play after big play after big play in all types of manners.
Now Manning to work from the 20. Fake to McGahee, and then the pass is caught by Brandon Stokely for a gain of 16 yards, forced out by Jenkins. Stokely in his 14th season.
Well, when you bring the slot blitz over here, that means you're going to get Brandon Stokely one-on-one with the safety behind him, and that's a mismatch. Broncos picked that one up beautifully. Peyton read it. Big play.
The 37-yard line. And McGahee will spin away. And instead of a loss, out to the 41-yard line. You know, you look at Peyton Manning, and you got to remember, I mean, a year ago, he's not playing. He's undergoing 4 neck surgeries in the middle of undergoing those procedures. And the question became, obviously, could he play, and to what extent could he play, and how healthy would he be? And he's answered a good many of those questions, obviously, to this point. Manning. And that is caught by Decker. And Chris, when you look at Manning, you know, you think about it's a new team, it's a new city, it's a new system. But I mean, it's like having, you know, it's like having your own offensive coordinator out on the field.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And the amazing thing is where he was just months ago when he really couldn't grip the football, couldn't throw it. He still says that he's going through rehab. But getting with his old quarterback coach, David Cutcliffe, is what he feels like really put him over the top as far as getting back and being able to play quarterback again.
3rd and 2 from the 45-yard line. Toss to Hillman. And the rookie cannot get to the first down line. Curtis Lofton making the tackle. Hillman losing his helmet, and it will be 4th down.
All right, we've got Lofton right here is going to come across the formation here, avoid that block, and be able to make that play. Couldn't see if there was a face mask on that play, just touched it, and you saw Hillman's head kind of move for a second, but I don't think that justified a flag.
Now Britton Colquitt to punt on 4th and 2 from the 45-yard line. Sproles back there to receive it. And Sproles will let it go, and this one will bound into the end zone. So Breeze will begin the next drive from the 20 in a 7-7 game in Denver. Gotta love this story. Joe Vitt, the interim head coach at New Orleans. Adam Gase is the quarterbacks coach in Denver. There's Jennifer Gase, Adam's wife, and Joe's daughter. So Joe, with 2 grandchildren who he visited when he was on suspension over those 6 weeks, and tonight going against each other. And for Jennifer, well, no doubt rooting for the Broncos, I guess.
That's not what Joe said. He said, come on, she's rooting for Dad. You know that's happening. He did. Joe said, talking about watching games while he was on suspension, Joe said, I tried with my wife and daughter, but it was like watching it with Thelma and Louise. I couldn't do it.
He said, I had to watch it by myself, take notes. Here's the handoff going to Ingram. Vitt said he watched every game on television by himself. In fact, the first game of the season when they lost to RG3 and the Redskins, he was out here visiting the grandkids and watched it upstairs in his daughter and son-in-law's house. And then last week, he flew to Tampa and watched that game in a hotel and then joined the team on the plane going back to New Orleans.
But boy, was he adamant that no Saints player ever crossed the white lines with the intent to hurt anybody. That really offended him.
2nd down and 7 from the 23-yard line. And Sproles turning around and making the catch, and let's see where they spot this, and they'll put it right on the line, which will move the chains. It'll be a 1st down.
You know, I just don't know how you take Darren Sproles out of the lineup. When I watch him play, I think he's as good a runner as they have. Obviously, you've seen him as a talented receiver, but such a difference maker. When I asked Drew Brees that question, he said, you know, he's not a big guy. I've got to have him for the season. I can't wear him down. So they understand they have to take away some plays from him just to keep him alive.
And right now, it's the type of hits that they're hoping to avoid with him as he gets taken down behind the line of scrimmage. Woodyard and Harris get on the tackle. So in their first 100 games, have a look at this. Most combined yardage. That's pretty good company. Now for Brown, of course, most of that was rushing, some receiving. For Sproles, he does 4 things. He runs, he catches, and he runs back kickoffs and punts. But to have your name up with Jim Brown in anything is pretty terrific. 2nd and 13 from the 27-yard line. Breeze and is able to thread the needle and hits the tight end, the former basketball player Jimmy Graham. 3rd year coming back off the ankle injury. 1st down.
There's the best news of the night if you're the New Orleans Saints fans, because if Jimmy Graham gets right and you're trying to cover him with a linebacker, no matter who that linebacker may be, this time Danny Trevathan, you are going to get this offense going. Without him, they're a good offense, no question about it. But with him, I think they're great.
He's on a little bit of a pitch count tonight. They don't want him in there too much. And he's back on the sideline here. And that's Thomas, who had a little trouble handling it initially. And then Champ Bailey gives him a ride. Somersaults his way out to an 8-yard gain to the 47-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 2.
Get the double crack going on the outside. There's Devery Henderson and there's Courtney Roby, 2 big physical guys on the outside. And once you get that going, you're going to get the edge and pick up some yardage. Pierre Thomas may have wondered if it was worth it.
9.5 minutes left in the opening half in a tie game. 2nd down and 2 from the Bronco 47. That play fake buys a ton of time. And then Breeze checks it down. And that pass with the officials looking for help from somebody who might have a better angle. He's initially going to call it a catch now, even though you could clearly see he was looking for help for somebody who might have a better angle.
Oh, man.
And that's Roby right there. And he's slow in getting up.
He had it pinned up against his side. Did it ever hit the ground? There you go. Now it's going to be loose. It hits the ground right there. That one looks incomplete to me.
And so there's a coach's challenge coming because it's ruled a completion, and that would be a 1st down. And so John Fox wants to have them take a look at this, and the way it looks to us.
The ruling on the field is a completed pass is being challenged by Denver.
All right, so Fox and company figures to win this. We'll find out when we come back. Mike Carey for the call here. It should be reversed.
After review, the ball hit the ground before the receiver got control. Denver is not charged with a team timeout. It'll be 3rd and 2 on the 47 on the right half. Please put 9:21 on the game clock. 9:21 on the game clock. Thank you.
Part of the problem was that as Roby needs some work on his shoulder, is that you can see the head linesman, Mark Baltz, is behind the play, so he doesn't really have an angle here. He can't make the call. And you see him look for help on the call. He can't see that part of it. So he lets it go. And they win it on the challenge. So now it's 3rd down and 2 with the ball at the 47-yard line.
Keep your eye on Darren Sproles. He's the guy in so many of these situations.
Leave him in the block, and in the pass, incomplete. Intended for Lance Moore. 4th down. Chris Harris with the coverage on the play. So they win the challenge, and that forces them eventually to punt.
Let's see, did Lance Moore... Well, Chris Harris just keeps making plays for this football team. Between he and Tony Carter in that game against the Chargers a couple of weeks ago, 2 young guys thrown in there because of the illness of Tracy Porter. They were fantastic. A couple of interceptions, fumble return for touchdowns, pick sixes, and they may well have played their way into the starting lineup. There's Jim Leonard. He's had a big interception in that game as well. So what looked like a difficult game from them from the standpoint of the secondary ended up being a great one.
Saints are going to take a timeout. Porter and the illness with Porter, and we don't know what his immediate future will hold. But now he's Peyton Manning's teammate. Of course, when you think about the Saints, you think about the Super Bowl. Porter with the interception that sealed it 3 years ago.
Yeah, and if you remember that Super Bowl, it was the Saints onside kick that turned the tide in that one. And I'm wondering if the Saints now are saying, you know what, we're playing against Peyton Manning. We've got to steal a possession or two, just like we did in the Super Bowl with that onside kick. Here we are with a 4th and 2. We can, there's always fake punts and different things, but why do all that? And when you've got Drew Brees, just throw him back out there.
Well, Joe Vitt telling us last night, he said, expect anything. He said, I'm aggressive. Even though Joe's been an assistant coach almost his entire career. He did coach the Rams for 11 games back in 2005 when Mike Marsh was sick. Now they're going to line up at least to attempt to go for it. We'll see if it's just to draw Denver offside or whether they do indeed snap it.
I don't think it is. I mean, what difference does it make if you give Peyton Manning the ball at the 20 or you give it to him at the 47? I think this is the right call.
Even if you give it to him at the 2, you're in trouble. Brees spreads it out, and indeed they do go for it. And Vitt was right. Expect anything. And it's almost intercepted as Woodyard does come up with the interception. It hardly matters at that point. They were going to get possession anyway. And then Woodyard gets taken down by a bunch of white shirts at about the 44-yard line. So they go for it on 4th and 2. Interception or incompletion barely mattered at that point because Denver was going to get the ball back, which they do. Tomorrow, in a world without power, every cure has its cost. Don't miss a new episode of Revolution tomorrow night, 10 Eastern and Pacific, 9 Central and Mountain, right here on NBC. DIA, Denver International Airport. Not too many flights will be heading east out of there tonight.
No.
Speaking about a world without power.
Everybody's safe back east.
Yes.
For sure.
From the 44, Manning play fake wide open. Making the catch is Thomas inside the 25 to the 23-yard line. Tackled by Roman Harper. Second long gain of the night from Manning to Thomas.
Roman Harper is just going to get completely turned around, fooled on the play fake. They ran the ball well enough with McGahee. And then Demaryius Thomas, who admitted to us the first time he ever met Peyton Manning, called him sir. He sounds a nervous wreck. And now sir is finding him regularly.
34-yard gain, earlier a 41-yarder for Thomas. Now to the ground, and exploiting that hold is McGahee for a first down, and a flag comes in at the end of the play. McGahee already with 10 carries tonight pending the call here.
Holding offense number 81, 10-yard penalty is still first down.
Joel Dreesen, the tight end who they picked up from the Texans.
Just a little tug of the jersey. Anymore, you can get away with a lot of stuff except this. When the guy starts to pull away, you can't see it so well from that angle, but there he is, the jersey pull. And, you know, guys are used to, and I hate to admit it because I used to do it too, being able to get away with, you know, you grab that chest plate in there, and usually they don't call it because your hands are inside. But the minute the defender starts to pull away, and if they see that jersey pull, they've been told to throw the flag every time. Not almost every time, every time. And that's what you get. You could see him grabbing the shoulder pads underneath there, but he saw that jersey pull.
All the evidence you need, Your Honor. On 1st and 17 now. Spot foul. There's another flag on the incomplete pass. Cedric Ellis put the pressure on Manning that time.
Yeah, I think that was a hold on the Saints defense because they were trying to get the screen going and couldn't get out.
And that'll make it a first down off of 1st and 17.
Defense number 90.
Indeed it does.
5-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
Turk McBride. So that's how you turn a 1st and 17 into a 1st and 10 with alacrity.
There you go. I've been waiting on a little alacrity. Coming out, you see this right here. Gonna grab McGahee, easy call.
All of our code words.
Hurry.
1st and 10 to the 24. And Ronnie Hillman.
There you go. That's what they've been waiting to see out of him. And remember that Vilma is playing a new position, this will position. And that time he didn't go over the top. He sat and waited for that cutback lane. But the world's got to look a little different to Vilma not playing the middle linebacker position.
2nd and 3. And cutting to the outside now. Here comes Hillman. He gets tripped up, and then the play is over. Jabari Greer made the tackle, but he has enough for the first down. A kid who grew up in Southern California and played for Snoop Dogg's kids team.
Jonathan Vilma, you're talking about him. The reason he's not playing the middle linebacker is because of the suspension. He hurt his knee and all that stuff. So they signed Curtis Lofton, a free agent from Atlanta, and all Lofton's done is become their best player on the defensive side of the ball. So when Vilma wanted to come back, he had to move positions.
1st and 10 at the 13. Manning comfortably from the pocket and then wide open. Eric Decker for the touchdown. Eric Decker turning this stadium into Lambeau Field.
And turning Jabari Greer inside out. Great route, hard inside, sold him. And if I remember correctly, that's his 4th touchdown in 4 games right there. And he is really become the go-to guy. You can tell when Peyton starts trusting guys, the ball comes out before the cut's made. Right now he's starting to believe in Decker.
So the Saints went for it on 4th down, and that gave Manning a pretty short field. 56 yards. Prater's extra point is good. It takes Peyton only 2:17 to regain the lead. 56 yards, 5 plays. Decker in for the TD. 14-7 Denver. You can get coverage of every NFL game with NFL Mobile. Call Star NFL to download or go to NFL.com/mobile and learn more. That's an exhibit honoring the late Tim McKernan, who is known here as Barrel Man. Broncos coming in as an original AFL franchise, playing at the old Mile High Stadium back in 1960.
Let's go back and watch some of this quarterback play from the night. And one of the things that I think makes these guys so special is how quickly the ball gets out of their hands. As a defensive back, you just don't have time to react. And they see it, and it's gone. Even on the deep ball there, 0.3 of a second. I've seen guys up around 6-7 of a second. And right now, the only difference really is that interception that came on 4th down anyway.
Breeze starts from the gun on 1st down from the 20-yard line. 6:43 to go in the half. To the outside he goes and incomplete. Intended for Colston. Let's check in with Michelle.
Well, Saints wide receiver Courtney Roby has gone to the locker room. We're told he is probable with his shoulder. They were paying attention to his left shoulder and neck area. And Al, as you know, the Saints came in with 4 active wide receivers, 2 tight ends. So now they're without one, at least for the moment. But again, they say he's probable to return.
All right, we'll keep checking on that. 2nd down and 10. Thank you, Michelle. One guy there minus as well, the wideout Joseph Morgan, who's turned into a big play guy. But he has a chest injury and is out tonight as Breeze on 2nd and 10 fires over the middle, and that's a 15-yard gain. Marcus Colston, the 4th to last guy drafted in 06 out of Hofstra.
And Colston has just been red hot lately. Over the last 3 games, 25 catches, 357 yards, and 5 touchdowns. No Saints receiver ever has put together a 3-game stretch like that. Trying to get him going here.
From the 35 on 1st down. And they give it to Sproles on the inside handoff to the 40-yard line. Back to Colston now.
Yeah, he has really been something, and there were so many of these Saints receivers that were banged up to start the season, and this offense didn't quite look the same. I mean, it just really didn't. Of course, Drew Brees and the contract holdout and all the bounty gate, all the stuff that was going on. But now that they're starting to get healthy collectively, Jimmy Graham and Lance Moore, all those guys, they're starting to get it going again.
2nd and 5. They bring Ingram into the backfield. Fake it to him. And then a little pass to Graham. A little jump pass to Graham, and Woodyard is right there. Leslie Woodyard is in his 5th season out of Kentucky and quietly having a very good season.
Yeah, and Al, you're right on the money with that. Wesley Woodyard is a guy that he was their leading special teams tackler for year after year. And then because of the suspensions to DJ Williams, he's gotten a chance to play. And when you get him in a game that is wide open and passing and not just downhill running, he is a dynamic player, and he's showing up out there tonight.
3rd down and 11. And Breeze hanging in the pocket, and the pass is incomplete. Intended down the left sideline for Lance Moore. And here comes the punting group. Chris Harris back there on the coverage.
I'll tell you, a lot of looks from John Fox tonight and Jack Del Rio in this defense. You know, because with Carolina, he played against Drew Brees and the Saints year after year. He said, you cannot give this guy base looks. You have to be exotic. And so far tonight, John Fox has thrown just about everything at Drew Brees, and it's working.
Morstead averaging 51 yards per kick this season. And that will hurt the average as that one goes out of bounds at the 13-yard line. As Manning will take over at that point with 4:24, and that punt is good for 53 yards.
There's Ryan Clady, who is in a contract year, and he's been showing up. Hasn't given up a sack all year, and no question about it. This guy is simply one of the best, can run block, an excellent pass blocker, great feet on the outside, and he kind of gives you that eraser guy, you know, the guy that you say, all right, he's got him, and now let's figure out how to block these other 3 guys on the defensive line. Fantastic player, and believe me, he's going to get paid what he wants to get paid.
5th year out of Boise State from the 13. Going through those progressions, and then McGahee slips a tackle, and that turns what might have been a 2nd and 2 into a 1st down, to the consternation of Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator, who you saw on the sideline.
Watch the one-on-one matchup on the other side as the rest of the offensive linemen slide down to the other side. He takes Will Smith, top pass rusher, right out of the mix. And Peyton Manning with that little check down. How about the night McGahee's having?
Yeah, McGahee with 10 carries, 42 yards, and a touchdown. And now it's the rookie Hillman going back the other way, chased by Jenkins, and Jenkins able to get him with an ankle tackle. Patrick Robinson with a tackle instead at the 40. Well, look, spot the ball at the 35-yard line.
And they're trying to get this Ronnie Hillman going. He's an explosive guy, a big play back in the backfield. Peyton Manning actually will turn around and tell him what to do on most plays. They try to get the play call in early and let him know that Hillman is in the backfield.
Hillman, the youngest player in the NFL right now, turned 21 on the 14th of September. And that pass falls incomplete, making it 3rd down and 7.
And one more look at Ryan Clady over here, right there. Hand jabbing, a little Muhammad Ali jab to the face mask. Get off of me. And I tell you, I played with Anthony Munoz, and what a blessing it is to have somebody over there that can take care of his and not have to worry about it.
Hillman getting a tutorial on the sideline.
He gets a lot of tutorials.
The youngest player in the league, it would figure. Yeah. 3rd and 7. And that is caught by Decker. Decker gets free. And a big first down, and Roman Harper came in that time and really laid one on Manning.
Oh, they came with everybody, and Peyton Manning took a big shot. Here we go, right up the middle. And he takes it from 2 guys right in the chops. I think that was Tom Johnson as well. And how about that throw to take one right in the chin and get this thing off? He was shaking his hand a bit after the play.
Harper and Martez Wilson, the 2 guys there, and now McGahee picking and threading his way to the 36-yard line with under 3 minutes to play. So Manning able to complete that one to Decker on a 3rd and 7 that was good for 24.
Yeah, he's messing around sometimes. You know, that thumb occasionally can take a shot. I couldn't tell, but he definitely was shaking it after that last play.
Second and 5 at the 37-yard line. Gahee fights for a first down. Willis to the 30-yard line.
Let's go back to that play now and see if Peyton Manning hits his thumb on a helmet. Sure did.
Yep.
Looked like maybe more of the top of the fist, and boy, he's checking it out. And as a quarterback, that is one you want no part of right there. And be interesting to see. Sometimes you can get by with that for a few plays, but maybe you go in at halftime and that thing starts to swell. Maybe a different story.
Well, he needs a little extra time right now, so he's going to let it go down to the 2-minute warning, which gives him another couple of minutes to try to get it right. 2-minute warning, 14-7 Denver. A lot to talk about on the Toyota halftime show. What about Michael Vick in Philadelphia? They lose today to Atlanta. What's his future? Giants in a wild one, holding off the Cowboys in Dallas. Bob and Hines Ward recap the first half. Also NBC News report the latest on Hurricane Sandy, all coming up on the Toyota halftime show. 1st and 10. Manning needing some attention for that thumb from the 30-yard line. He'll start here by handing the ball off, and it's another good game. McGahee plowing through and very close to a first down, taking the ball to the 20-yard line. During commercial, this was what was going on the sideline. Little blood. Is it a split finger? But that came off Martez Wilson's helmet. He had Harper coming in, Wilson coming in, and he hits Wilson's helmet. It's a first down at the 20-yard line.
See if they stay with this run game.
And milk the clock as well.
Just wonder about that thumb now.
They will. And this is Hillman taking it to the 17-yard line, tackled by Gillette. It's a good time for Manning to take his time right here and not leave the Saints any time on the other side.
But you know, and he's told us before that he still doesn't have full strength in that grip. And now you add the thumb to it, you just wonder how this is going to play out. And remember, they've got Brock Osweiler, the rookie, who is yet to throw a pass in the regular season this year as the backup, the only backup.
2nd and 7. Manning will throw, and incomplete. Intended for Thomas, running a fade to the sideline, covered by Robinson. 3rd down.
Pretty good hard release on the outside there by Demaryius Thomas, and Peyton just barely overthrew that one. That's one you probably come back to. Remember, Thomas is a huge guy, And Peyton wanted to give him an opportunity to just go up and catch balls. He already has one deep one today.
6-3 and 2:30 out of the shotgun on 3rd down and 7. No blitz, and that's tipped. And at the 16-yard line, Will Smith got a hand on it, but the pass well short of the first down, setting up a 4th down and a field goal attempt.
Let's take one more look here at this thumb. He's messing with it. You can see the other hand is open and ready, and he's sort of fiddling around, probably subconsciously, with that thumb. This is going to be an interesting halftime.
I'll tell you what's a little interesting here too is that the Saints did not take a timeout, and of course Denver wanted to run it all the way down, and they do before the field goal attempt. And we can tell you that Sunday Night Football is being brought to you by Subway Restaurant. Subway, the official training restaurant of athletes everywhere. By Audi, Truth in Engineering. By Need for Speed, Most Wanted in stores October 30th. And by Bud Light, the official beer of NFL fans. Here we go. So as you look at Jockey Cam on Thunder here at what used to be known as Invesco Field, now is Sports Authority Field. But Chris, the Broncos are going to get the ball to start the second half. The Saints, with their offense, you would have thought they would have taken the timeout and left a little bit of time for Breeze to get them into field goal position in a game in which they're trailing. Here goes Prater now to attempt a 33-yard field goal. And the kick is good, and they will get the ball to start the second half. So we play the half in Denver. 17-7. Broncos is our halftime score. The Toyota halftime show is coming up next after these messages from your NBC station.
Lay it all on the line tonight for each other.
How in the world did he get that ball in there? I mean, that's like throwing darts.
And McGahee gets into the end zone. 98 yards. Catching it on the run is Darren Sproles. 300 career TD passes for Breeze. Eric Decker for the touchdown. Halftime in Denver, Broncos 17, Saints 7. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to iTunes.com/NFL. In Denver, Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya. Week 8. Broncos trying to go to 4-3. And Michelle's going to give us the update on Manning, who we saw at the end of the half hitting his thumb on Martez Wilson's helmet. He was still able to complete the drive. It led to a field goal, and he will go right to work here after the kickoff, which will actually be run back. That's news in Denver. And Bolden would have been better served just letting it stay in the end zone. Tackled by Raphael Bush, and here we go to Michelle.
Well, Al, I spoke with John Fox, asked him about Peyton Manning's throwing hand, which he hit on that helmet. He said it's a thumbnail injury, and he's fine. And for now, he has no concerns about Manning being able to grip the football. As for Joe Vitt, he told me, we understand what kind of a second-half team the Broncos are. We've got to withstand the onslaught. And, Al, they might have to do that without Courtney Roby. That left shoulder injury, he's been downgraded to doubtful.
All right, thank you, Michelle. And, of course, it's been the Broncos who have been tremendous in the second half this season. Of course, the exclamation point was the Monday Nighter in San Diego 2 weeks ago. They've outscored the opposition 128 to 40 in the second half this year. They start this drive from the 7-yard line with a 5-yard run by McGahee. And back we go to Manning hitting his hand on the helmet of Wilson.
Let's see. Those are the ones probably the quarterbacks fear most. You start messing around with that thumb on the throwing hand. He's messing around with it the whole time. But he did throw some balls at the end, so I'm inclined to think it isn't a huge deal here.
On the money here with a short pass to Tammy. That's a yard short of the first down. It'll be 3rd down and 1. So the marquee guys tonight, the 2 quarterbacks. Breeze at 50%, well under what he normally is. Only 1 sack in the game. That was Breeze going down, and Manning with a rating that's double what Drew's is.
Yeah, and the difference was the ability of the Broncos to run the football, because the Saints defensively got burned on some big plays because of play action.
Hillman is the back on 3rd down and 1. Instead, they hand it to the up back to give it to the fullback, and that will be a 1st down. So offset in a 2-back set out of the backfield. They hand the ball off to McGahee, who's lined up in a blocking role, and that picks up the 1st down.
Yeah, so you have McGahee as a fullback and running at Vilma here. And this is a nice run by McGahee for a guy that's a little older. He still has that jump cut move and needs it.
Play action. Manning dancing around, throwing, flag thrown, and that's Thomas taking it out to the 45-yard line. So you saw the flag come right in. Manning feels it's going to be defensive holding. Thomas a little slow in getting up after the 26-yard gain. Needs some attention.
Holding, defense number 21. Penalties decline. The play results 1st down.
And the hold definitely impacted the play. You're going to end up with 2 receivers right at the point of the catch. Couldn't really tell who he was throwing it to exactly, and Thomas ends up making the play. Robinson's going to, again, make a little hold there on the tail end of it, but Peyton's getting loose, throwing it down the field to Demaryius Thomas.
From the 45-yard line, 1st down. And a stretch play to Hillman. Inside the 40. And the rookie will lose the ball, but out of bounds, so he maintains possession. And John Fox saying the other day, he thinks Hillman's ready for a big breakthrough.
Yeah, if he keeps getting blocks like this from Zane Beadles coming around, he's going to have a big breakthrough. Coming out on Jonathan Vilma again, gets the inside cut lane. And Hillman, they tell me he weighs close to 200 pounds. I did a little double checking because we saw him in practice the other day. I think he's closer to about 180, but he adds a speed element to this team that is starting to make a difference.
31 yards. That's the first time Denver's fumbled this year and hasn't resulted in a turnover.
Hurry, hurry.
And Manning. And Peyton trying to get to the sideline, and he does. As Manning gets taken out of bounds, chased by Tom Johnson.
You know, Peyton Manning, we've seen him move around a little bit better this season, and really this protection's pretty good. They just had it covered on the back end. Peyton made a play against San Diego a couple weeks ago where he was ducking and jumping over people and got the completion in. All those drills he's been doing in the offseason paying off.
2nd and 6. Gahey will take the ball to the 16-yard line, setting up 3rd and 2.
Take a look back at this one. I think this is the San Diego play. Chargers going to get a little pressure going, duck under that one, jump over that one, fire it in there. It was one of those plays that I think Peyton Manning said, any questions? I'm back.
Little doubt right now as the season approaches the halfway mark. Haven't seen anything he's not capable of doing that he's done in the past. 3rd and 2. And they hit Thomas. Thomas will take the ball to the 6-yard line, and it will be 1st down and goal. This drive began back at the 7. They've already had a 98-yard drive, and they're trying to pull off a 93-yard drive. Total yardage in the game, Denver 353, New Orleans 121. And Roman Harper is down.
Nice when you have athletic offensive linemen. You can get the outside guys blocked, but when a guy like Ryan Clady can get down the field and pick up that next safety, gives you a chance to really turn it into something big. We saw Demaryius Thomas in the opener against Pittsburgh score a touchdown of about 80 yards on that play.
Harper has to come out for at least one play. This sport will make you gray, won't it?
Especially the way this defense has been playing this year. I mean, this has been record-setting numbers defensively for the Saints. They just simply cannot get off the field, and it is just continuing tonight.
First and goal from the 6-yard line. And McGahee tackled by Jenkins. Second down and goal. The opening drive of the second half. They've run 9 plays and 6 of them on the ground.
And what did Joe Vitt tell us? He said, "Hey, I don't have any magic pixie dust to throw over this defense." He said, the numbers we're giving up are just astronomical, and don't expect me to come in 1 week and fix everything.
They have more yardage in the first 6 games of the season than any team in the history of the league. On second and goal, getting about halfway to the end zone again is McGahee.
They had a huge goal line stand last week against the Buccaneers to turn that game around, and boy, do they need a third down play right now.
There it is right now. Most in the first 7 games in NFL history, over 3,000 yards already, and Spagnuolo's defense is going to need a good stand here to avoid it becoming a 3-possession lead.
And coverage on the outside. I have to think Peyton's going to take a shot at one of the 3.
And he will. To the left side he goes, and it is Thomas for the touchdown. Demaryius Thomas capping off a 93-yard drive.
Peyton Manning's going to come up and point over the right side and go, yeah, okay, we got that guy. Never looked left. A little glance there at the end. But Peyton is going to be really excited about Demaryius Thomas that time. A good route. Thomas is a fantastic athlete who's learning to play receiver. Peyton Manning may be one of the best wide receiver coaches in the NFL, and he has been training Thomas nonstop. That was a good route. Good indicator at the top, and it paid off.
Thomas getting outside Johnny Patrick. The extra point by Prater is good. And the Denver Broncos have taken a 17-point lead. Sunday Night Football being brought to you by Verizon. Now more than ever, Droid does. By Nissan, innovation for today, innovation for tomorrow, innovation that excites. By M&M's, not your average chocolate. And by Lenovo, the official desktop, workstation, and laptop provider for the NFL. Friday night, high school football, Valor Christian beat Rock Canyon here in Denver. They're now 7-2, and Ed McCaffrey's son, Christian, scored 4 touchdowns in that game for Valor Christian. McCaffrey, the former Bronco wide receiver. Good career.
Yeah.
And the touchback. And Breeze will touch the ball for the first time in the second half at the 20-yard line with a mountain to climb. 9.5 to go in the third. 24-7. Bronx. Peyton Manning's work is never done, not even after a touchdown drive. After the first touchdown, he gathers the troops. After the second touchdown, he gathers the troops again. And there he is after touchdown number 3. Just wants to make sure everything is perfect. You see Brandon Stokely, number 14. Yeah, Stokely had a grin in that earlier shot. He said, I've been here before. I've heard this a few times. They played together for 4 years with the Colts. Thomas,
Eli too, hasn't he?
Stokely, and a little trivia. Who's the only other guy who's caught passes besides Stokely from Eli and Peyton? As Thomas picks up 6. Nobody's going to get it.
You don't expect me to remember.
Jim Finn, the fullback, played with the Giants, played with the Colts, and those are the 2 guys in history catching passes from the Manning boys. On second down and 4, Sproles swings to the outside, and he'll cross the 30 for a first down. Now, the Saints have been here before. In fact, over the last 2 weeks. Against the Chargers on the Sunday night, trailed by 10, won by 7. Then against the Bucs last week, trailed by 14, trailed 14-0 early in the game, and wound up winning by 7. And they'll have to do it again to try to get themselves back into the playoff hunt. Big difference, obviously, between 3-4 and 2-5 at this point this season. To the outside goes Thomas, but nothing happening there. No gain.
One of the more remarkable things you'll see is Champ Bailey, after however many years he's been in the league, playing the run. Drew Brees was talking to us about it. He said usually as guys get older, that's the part of the game that begins to fade. You know, they still cover guys, but they're not as interested in getting involved in the run game. The reason Champ Bailey's going into the Hall of Fame one day is because he did both and both for a long time.
Brees called him the ageless wonder. This pass is caught by Moore, who gets ridden out of bounds by Tony Carter.
You know, the Saints have done a pretty good job of helping against Elvis Dumerville and Von Miller on the outside. But you just have to wonder now, they're starting to get Darren Sproles out a little bit more every time. And when will Dumerville and Miller start to show up here?
Halfway through the third quarter. Crowd stomping its feet. 3rd and 4. And over the middle, and that is a nice catch by Colston. He beats Bailey. Bailey said, man, I had him covered. Not well enough. First down.
Boy, what a throw. You got Dumerville on the outside and the Pro Bowler Bushrod on him, and that's a nice job scrambling around. Look at Drew Brees. We were talking to Marcus Colston yesterday. He said, is there ever a time that you don't see the ball come out? He said, yeah, it looks like it just comes out of a pile of offensive linemen sometimes.
Now it's Ingram, who Brees referred to as our hammer, taking it to the 50-yard line.
Yeah, there are some guys you go 24-7 and this thing's over, but we all know all too well Drew Brees. We saw it earlier this year in the game against San Diego, and really in many ways season on the line tonight for the Saints.
2nd and 6 from the 50. Only a 3-man rush. And Brees will throw, and it's a little high and incomplete. So they had 8 guys back in coverage. You had Vickerson, who was chasing Brees, who gave him a shot at the end of the play. 3rd and 6.
Good coverage on the back end. Chris Harris, the outstanding young nickelback who's playing tonight for Tracy Porter, but on the other side it was Colston who was open. He came back, made a late adjustment, was open, and Brees just missed him. Really should have had it.
Third down and 6. Bunch 3 receivers to the right. Brees checking out the middle, goes over the middle, and then throws it behind Devery Henderson. And the Saints will have to bring in the punting unit. And Joe Vitt, who's been coaching in the NFL since 1979. As an assistant coach, again, he took over from Mike Martz for the Rams in 05, coached 11 games, and he will coach the rest of the season while Peyton sits out the whole year.
I'll tell you, Jack Del Rio's defense, though, has been tremendous tonight.
And Morstead's kick for a catch is called for and made by Jim Leonard. Manning will go back to work with 5:54 left in the third. 24-7 Denver. To Atlanta we go. Next Sunday night, the Falcons, the only undefeated team in the league. The Cowboys lost a heartbreaker today. Their season on the brink right now. Football night starts at 7 Eastern time. From Atlanta, the Falcons 7-0 and the Cowboys a week from tonight. Manning going to work from the 8. He's led touchdown drives from his own 2 and from his 7. They start with the rookie Hillman in the backfield, and Hillman having a nice night out to the 14, and we check with Michelle.
Al Roman Harper, Saints safety, came off the field the last time they were on defense. He's back in there now. They had escorted him immediately to the locker room per NFL concussion protocol. He was evaluated, but he's been cleared to play, Al.
And there he is. Thank you, Michelle. Back in the lineup right now. 2nd down and 5 from the 13-yard line. Quick toss to the left side, and that is caught by Virgil Green, who breaks a tackle, and that nets him a first down. Second-year tight end out of Nevada.
Yeah, it's sort of interesting. Peyton just takes advantage. Virgil Green's really in there to block, and yet if the safeties aren't going to walk down on him, they're just going to, they leave him that much space, just throw it to the big guy, breaks the tackle. Peyton is not one to let you give up gimmies against him. Usually it's Stokely that he takes advantage of it with.
Doesn't give you gimmies either. It's another story. The pass is incomplete, intended for Demaryius Thomas, covered by Patrick Robinson.
Patrick Robinson's doing the best he can, but this Demaryius Thomas and really this team in general, they are better than when we were here in the opener against Pittsburgh. You're starting to see Peyton's touches with the receivers on the outside, the way he's coordinating them, the routes they're running, just much more efficient than we saw.
On 2nd and 10, and the rookie finds no running room at all that time as Hillman gets taken down at the 22-yard line. They've already called his number 10 times tonight. McGahee, meanwhile, 18 carries, 79 yards. So they've run the ball 29 times tonight.
This is almost a have to stop them down right here. You've got 3rd and very long. Cannot afford to give them another first down here.
This time they give it to Ball, their number 3 back, Lance Ball, and he gets out to the 31-yard line, but not enough for a first, and in comes the punting unit.
And they're going to take Norman Harper, I believe it was, run him back out to help in coverage, and they go with the run play. I think this is a pretty major statement, though, about how they're starting to feel about Denver's defense. The fact you take the ball out of Peyton Manning's hands in a 3rd and 13, run the football, I'm starting to say I'm believing on the defensive side.
Britton Colquitt. Sproles collection at the 18. Avoids the first man, but not everybody else. And they'll spot the ball at the 16-yard line. 3:22 to go in the 3rd. Broncos by 17. Well, on Saturday on NBC, how about them Irish knocking off Oklahoma last night? Notre Dame now 3rd in the country, undefeated. The Pitt Panthers going to South Bend. You'll see it on NBC at 3:30 Eastern time next Saturdays. Look at the Colorado State Capitol, not far from Sports Authority Field, where Drew Brees tonight has been limited to 125 passing yards. We played almost 3 quarters.
And you see the 0 for 3, 21 yards plus. This is a great big play offense, and they have got nothing going with that tonight.
Brees from the 16, 4-man rush, has to drop it off underneath for Pierre Thomas. Gain of about 2.
We talked about Marcus Colston on the outside, and he has just been red hot lately. Watch Champ Bailey. You're going to cut him off at the spot. We see Revis do that a lot in New York when he was healthy, and you try to release inside, he jams you. You try and release outside, he cuts you off.
Very un-Saints-like when you look at that one touchdown on their 4th drive. Everything else ending in a punt or a pick. And they'll hand the ball off to Sproles, and they'll swing to the outside, but a flag comes in after he gets taken down by Woodyard. At the 18-yard line, Mike Carey will make the call in a second.
Holding offense number 73. Half the distance to the goal, still 2nd down.
Jerry Evans, the all-pro guard.
Working against Mitch Unrein in there, and things just continue to go poorly. This doesn't even look like the Saints. And, you know, I think you have to give some credit to the development of this defense. They brought in a lot of guys, and they made a lot of changes over here. Keith Brooking taking over, Wesley Woodyard having a great year for DJ Williams, Chris Harris, Tony Carter in the secondary, who John Fox was telling us is as good as any cover guy he's coached, which is a heck of a statement when you got Champ Bailey on your team.
And they've been changing defensive coordinators almost every year. This is Jack Del Rio's group right now. Well, they are really coming of age tonight. 3rd down and 8. And that pass is intended for Colston. The Broncos are saying he's out of bounds, and the officials agree. Right there in front of the Bronco bench. He's on the stripe, incomplete, 4th down.
Champ Bailey has no fear whatsoever that Colston's going to run by him. So he's playing this back shoulder fade. It's one of the problems. I think he caught it. Did he get his feet down? Well, that's the problem right there.
Right.
And remember, even though the toe was down, it is the old heel toe thing.
Right.
And, you know, so once that heel comes down on the line, that's it. But the Cowboys learned a little bit about that today, too, didn't they?
With Des Bryant at the end of the game. State's kick. Holiday backing up. Fields at the 28. Breaks a couple of tackles. And Holiday bowling ball his way out to the 50-yard line. Knock it down, pins on his way to the midfield stripe. Back comes Manning.
Big night for this offensive line up front after giving up 8 sacks in the first 3 games. Just twice in the last 3 and none tonight. A lot of protection, and because they've been able to run the football in this game, this play action stuff has torn up the Saints tonight. But you see all the protection, the big pocket that Peyton has a chance to just stand there, find his receivers, and hit the big plays down the field really has been the difference. But an outstanding uptick from this offensive line over the past few games.
Averaging 5 yards per carry rushing. 30 carries for 150 yards. To the outside, Tammy. And Jacob Tammy gains 22 to the 28-yard line. And Manning tonight is thrown for 255 yards. Wants the play call from McCoy.
You cannot show the blitz to Peyton Manning that early. You show him that slot blitz, and he doesn't care who's in the slot. He's going to get that ball out there quickly and take advantage.
A little over a minute remaining in the quarter, and Manning will throw, and that'll be another 1st down, and Thomas will take it inside the 10, all the way to the 4-yard line. Demaryius Thomas.
One thing that Peyton Manning wanted out of Demaryius Thomas was an indicator up here at the top. Watch him chop his feet and move his hands. Now Peyton knows when he's going to come out of that break. That's what he's been working with him on. Trying to get those indicators going. Let me know when you're coming out of that break so I can anticipate the throw. And if Thomas gets all that stuff down, look out.
Waning seconds of the quarter. Back-to-back 23-yard completions. McGahee getting to the 1.5, and that's going to take us to the end of the quarter. What was it Thomas said the other day? Peyton takes me to school like I'm in kindergarten.
He takes me through routes like I'm a kindergarten student.
He said it with a big smile on his face. Well, the kindergartner tonight has 6 carries for 136 yards. And we played 3 with Denver leading New Orleans 24-7. Sunday Night Football resumes after these messages. Tonight's aerial coverage is being brought to you by Geico. In Denver, Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, and Michelle Tafoya. Skate park nearby on this Sunday night. Beautiful night. Temperature probably down in the low 50s right now.
If I were in the AFC, I'd be getting a little nervous watching the Broncos in this game. Not particularly because of the offense, but because of the way their defense has been playing.
Putting it together on both sides tonight. 2nd down and goal on the first play of the 4th quarter. And Manning Sliding and throws a wobbly pass, but it gets there anyway to Eric Decker for the touchdown.
I tell you, these guys are getting good. They hit him on the fade out to Thomas earlier. Now he's going to go out and back in. And for Patrick Robinson, that's just too many different looks. And watch where Peyton throws this ball down low. Only one guy can get it. These guys are putting on a show.
Yeah, it's tippy. Is the way it came out, you can see. That's anything but a spiral. That's closer to a field goal. And Decker makes his second touchdown grab of the night. Prater to add the 31st point. Manning has thrown for 3 touchdowns, 280 yards. And the Denver Broncos trying to get above 500 and go to 4-3, up by 24. Sunday Night Football brought to you by Wendy's Bacon Portobello Melt, by Cadillac, the standard of the world, by Assassin's Creed 3, available October 30th on Xbox and PS3, and by National Car Rental. Go national, go like a pro. It's the Denver Museum of Nature and Science, founded in 1900. There he is again, Peyton Manning, after every touchdown drive. Let's go over things, guys, and we can still do it better. Steve Spagnuolo's defense really having a rough time of it all season long. For the touchback, so 31-7 Denver. And John Elway, you know, he gets the job not because he's John Elway necessarily, because he, as he told Bob Costas in the pregame interview, he went to work. He has had successful businesses, car dealerships and restaurants, and also ran the Arena League team. So he came with a pretty good dossier to begin with.
It didn't hurt that he was John Elway.
Of course it didn't. Of course it didn't. But you know what? Look at the job he's done. And it's paid off for Pat Bowden.
All those free agents are playing and playing well.
Here's Breeze throwing, and that's dropped by Graham. The free agent, some of the guys he brought in, of course, number one would be Peyton, and then you bring Stokely in to make Peyton feel even more at home. Dreesen comes from Houston. He brings Tammy, the former Colt. Copen, of course, who living a charmed life, snapping to Brady and Manning. Bannon, Keith Brooking, the longtime linebacker with Atlanta and Dallas, Adams and Leonard. So he's been a busy man, has learned the ropes, figures out how to work the salary cap, and right now his team is one of the hotter teams in the National Football League. 2nd and 10. And that's taken by Marcus Colston, who gets tackled by Trevathan. And it will be 3rd down and 1.
And I know the Saints aren't a great running team, but the one question that I sort of had about this Denver defense still, because they'd given up some big yardage on the ground to Houston and New England earlier this year. But I think that's where they've improved the most, with some of these guys, Justin Bannon, Kevin Vickerson coming back from an injury. That's where they've been strong.
Breeze throwing on 3rd and 1, and that's incomplete. And again, that coverage is fantastic. Lance Moore looking for a flag. There is none. Tony Carter with the coverage. 4th and 1.
That's the guy we were talking about earlier. John Fox saying this young man right here has as much coverage ability as anybody I've ever coached. Made great plays against the Chargers, scored a touchdown on a fumble return, had an interception, almost another one. And he has just been blanketing guys. Now you're going to add Tracy Porter back to the mix, hopefully. This is going to be a tough secondary.
And Morstead to punt. And that is a mile-high kick, fielded at the 6-yard line by Holiday. Flag is thrown. And Holiday, for the moment, has a real good run back out to the 39-yard line, but we got a penalty. And Mays down face first.
During the return, during the kick, holding by the receiving team, number 30. 10-yard penalty for the end of the kick. First down.
That's David Bruton negating a real good run back. early fourth, 31-7 Broncos. Can't think of anybody who's had a fuller plate over the last 8 or 9 months than Jonathan Vilma, the Saints linebacker, who would have been suspended for the whole season, but the suspension was vacated. He was physically unable to perform until last week when he played against Tampa Bay. Paul Tagliabue was supposed to hear the appeal on Tuesday, but that won't happen because of Hurricane Sandy. And we'll fill in the blanks in a second as Denver starts this from the 4-yard line. And this is McGahee. So the former commissioner was supposed to hear the appeal, but tomorrow a judge in Louisiana will rule as to whether Tagliabue can hear the appeal or not. In the meantime, Vilma has learned more about the law than a guy who finished #1 in the bar exam in any class. He was going through it last night, going through everything that happened, and is still obviously very upset about the suspension to begin with. On 2nd down and 7 with the ball at the 7-yard line. And Manning almost dropped the snap and then gets it to the outside. And there goes Virgil Green. And Green playing an instrumental role tonight. Rumbles for a first down.
Well, they're doing it again. They're leaving uncovered as they blitz. A receiver on the outside, and these receivers are becoming well trained under the Peyton Manning school, because when they see that, they're just turning around. We saw it with Stokely last week. I'm telling you, Al, this team is taken big jumps since we saw them last.
Absolutely. We caught them on opening night when they beat Pittsburgh. Trying to win back-to-back games for the first time this season. Clearly on their way to doing that after the win against San Diego. And even more yardage now, and a tremendous night for McGahee, but a flag was thrown. McGahee would be over 100 yards if that one's against New Orleans. That was good for 17. Gives the thumbs up here. And, of course, Manning says we'll decline it. Not going to cost Manning 17 yards.
Face. Defense number 96. 5-yard penalty from the end of the run. Automatic. First down.
It's Tom Johnson, and that's 102 yards on 21 carries for Willis.
Chris Cooper is going to come around and lead the way, and boy, he's been a nice addition coming back. We talked about Copen coming in, but Cooper broke his leg in week 17, came back in preseason, broke his forearm, and has just been back in the lineup for a few weeks now. But you can see this offensive line getting solidified, and they're getting used to playing together. When I was talking to Copen, he said learning the plays wasn't the hard part. The hard part's learning how to play with guys you've never played with before. They're getting closer.
43, Manning swings it to the outside. And they finally stop Thomas. And just to put a bow on this whole Vilma thing, Chris, the league contends he put cash on the table to knock out Kurt Warner and Brett Favre, $10,000. He says no, and he told us last night, Roger Goodell just doesn't believe me.
And he said, if I did that, why wouldn't I put the same amount of money on Peyton Manning in the next game? You know, his big thing is he wants transparency. He wants to be able to cross-examine Greg Williams and Mike Cirillo, who are the two main accusers that have been documented by the league.
An ongoing story, and it's probably not even close to being finished. 2nd down and 9 from the 42-yard line. And this is McGahee taking it to the 39 when the flag comes in.
Holding. Offense number 78, 10-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
That would be Ryan Clady. Well, we talked about the Saints, the problems they've had defensively. First team in the history of the league allowing 400 or more yards in 7 straight games, and they're not done yet tonight. They've yielded 482 yards, and Steve Spagnuolo came with a great pedigree with the Giants as the defensive coordinator. Had a head coaching stint with St. Louis, but trying to get the pieces to match up.
Well, you know, a season ago under Greg Williams, they were a blitzing team, and they were good at it. This year, every time they blitz, they've just been barbecue. So they've had to get away from who they are And sitting in this kind of a look's not working either.
And they've been blitzing a whole lot less. On 2nd and 19, pass is underthrown. 3rd down intended for Matthew Willis. 3rd and 19.
Peyton underthrew that one, but you have to wonder how much he trusts Matt Willis after the San Diego game when he ran the wrong route and cost him a pick 6. So he was going to be on the short side of this one, but that thumb has held up throughout this second half in a beautiful way, and I still don't think he's thrown an interception in the second half of any game.
He's only thrown 4 all season, 3 in 1 quarter in week 2 against Atlanta. The other was that one you just mentioned to Willis.
See this, how the Saints don't react to these audibles.
And this is Lance Ball taking it into Saints territory. 4th and long.
You go back to the Super Bowl when they played against Peyton Manning, and every time that Peyton Manning audibled, you would see Jonathan Vilma audible. I mean, it was a show watching those two guys go back and forth. We were talking to Vilma yesterday. He said, we're not really doing that in this game. We're just going to, get in our looks and sometimes blitz, sometimes not, but not try and play that game with Peyton.
Well, it's one thing to do it when you played together all season long and everybody knows each other, and it's another one. Vilma has only played 1 game prior to tonight, a new defensive coordinator, an interim head coach, and a defense that's having a lot of trouble. Colquitt's kick will bounce inside the 5, and there's a hack down. He reaches for a flag, and he's going to say that it was out of bounds at the 2-yard line. Down there, Bolden getting there to pin him deep. Leaping Lena. Jay Leno this week. Who's coming by? Well, Britney Spears will be there. Simon Cowell comes in. Jersey Shore's Jay Wow and Taylor Lautner. Jay Leno, the Tonight Show all this week right here on the National Broadcasting Company. Denver on this final Sunday night of October. Season approaching the halfway mark. Another big night for Manning. Saints backed up to their own 2-yard line. Breeze at Sproles, who gets taken out of bounds at the 8.
I would have never believed that the Broncos defensively could have had this kind of night against this Saints offense without getting huge production from Von Miller and Elvis Dumervil. I thought if they were going to have a good night, it would have been those guys getting pressure, and yet even without that now, they're proving that they can win and win big.
2nd and 3 from the 8-yard line is Breeze. Ooh, right through Graham's hands. 3rd down.
So many good players on the defensive side, and remarkably Champ Bailey still getting it done at such a high level. Holston's been so hot coming into this game, and he just has been a non-factor. Champ has been all over him, but even in the run game, look at this. The old man coming up. There you go. How about a little ride on the Ferris wheel?
3rd and 3 from the 8. And that's tipped, and that's incomplete. Breeze, because of his height, gets a lot of passes tipped, but his career, it's about the only blemish. Kevin Vickerson got a hand on it, and it's 4th down.
And if there's a guy that takes more coaching on this team, I'd like to know who it is. Kevin Vickerson. He was injured a season ago, and I mean, they wear him out in practice. They just are on him. They think he is so talented, but plays too high, doesn't play hard. Now, all these kinds of things, Jack Del Rio just wears him out.
Morstead averaging 50 yards per punt tonight, and this one is fielded just inbounds at the 30. Holliday's given him a little burst.
Sure has.
Came over from the Texans a couple of weeks ago and has become their punt returner. Under 9 to play. 31-7.
There you go.
Rolling a 7 on the come-out roll.
That would.
Well, 3 seasons ago when Vilma saw Manning, Vilma wound up with a championship ring and hoisted the Lombardi Trophy. And tonight, it's been a completely different story. Peyton Manning, great night. Broncos have run the ball. Manning's been throwing the ball efficiently, and the defense has been great as McGahee picks up about 4 yards.
Let's go back to the Super Bowl and watch Vilma here as he's matching audibles with Peyton Manning. There's Vilma right in the middle. All right, Manning's going to come out of this thing like he always does. All right, here's some audibles. Vilma's going to listen in. Now all of a sudden he's going to start doing his checks. All right, here we go. This is what we're going to do. Safety moves back. They want to do that. We're going to do this. And that's the way that Super Bowl went. And the Saints came out on top.
Buffalo.
Second down and 5. And Manning just taking as much time off the clock as he can. At this point, McGahee, look at that. Taking the Saints with him to the 37-yard line. The 31-year-old McGahee, 23 carries, 122 yards.
All right, let's look at the difference. Here's Manning audibling. Nothing. They're going to sit in that defense. They were either going to blitz or pull out and play the softer version of that. And for Peyton, he said, fine, you're going to, show me what you're going to do, and we're going to take advantage of that too. But I tell you, Willis McGahee's had a huge night tonight.
122. The Broncos tonight, 506 yards against the Saint defense. Halfway through the quarter, the rookie Hillman. Hillman's had a big night as well. And Hillman finally gets taken out of bounds, but not before he gets to the 14-yard line. It's 11 carries for the rookie tonight. 81 yards, 24 right there.
And that's just pure speed, and that's what they want out of Ronnie Hillman. Noshawn Marino had been the backup, but they thought this change of pace back, and Hillman would really add an edge. He's about a 4.4 sprinter, so the ability to get outside is what they're looking for, and tonight's really the first game that it showed up. To deal with that hammer inside, and then Hillman to the outside.
Outgained him by better than 3-1 from the 13. Hillman to the 11. You think about Hillman, and then you think about Noshawn Marino is a guy who they spent a #1 pick on back in 09, but with injuries, and it's been tough for him to come back, and Marino's kind of the odd guy out right now.
Yeah, you just get the feeling, though, that they're looking for all facets, and they don't want to wear down Willis McGahee, although he certainly doesn't look like he's wearing down tonight. But he is 31 years old, and obviously he's the main back. He's the one that Peyton trusts in pass protection. Hillman is a small guy. You're not going to get him on a regular basis to pass protect, but they want to limit his touches a little bit.
And Manning will throw, and the pressure was put on that time by Will Smith. Speaking of the bounty thing, again, to clean it up completely, Smith is one of those guys. He would have been suspended for the first 4 games of the season, but when the suspensions were vacated, at least temporarily, Smith's been able to play in every game this year.
Yeah, the other thing you have to say is that this process was collectively bargained. I mean, the players could have held strong. The Pittsburgh Steelers did not vote for the collective bargaining agreement because they did not want the commissioner to have that kind of authority to be judge, jury, and appellate judge. But that's exactly what they're facing. So he really does not even have to appoint anybody else to be the appellate officer.
And that's the law school education of one Cris Collinsworth coming to the forefront right here.
Hey, 5 years of law school. They gave me tenure by the time I left there.
Well,
Vilma and I will be right to the reunion parties.
Meanwhile, I'll go to the bar.
I'll meet you in a minute.
Okay. This will be a 33-yard attempt for Matt Prater with 5.5 to go. Colquitt to put it down. Prater adds 3 more. Denver extends its lead to 34-7 over the Saints. Well, you can go to NFL.com/Pro Bowl or text Pro Bowl to MyNFL. You can send your favorite player to the 2013 Pro Bowl in Hawaii. Also join Mike Florio at Pro Football Talk on NBCSports.com for all the latest surrounding the league and its players. 24/7. The Denver Broncos on their way to a nice night following a good afternoon as well, because San Diego got knocked off by Cleveland. And they'll be 4-3 on top in the division by themselves. Broncos lead defensive coaches through the years. Back to 06, Larry Coyer under Shanahan, Jim Bates in 07, and then Bob Slowick in Mike Shanahan's last year here. Then Mike Nolan came in 09, and Don Martindale came in 10. Dennis Allen was here last year and wound up getting the Oakland job. And now Jack Del Rio. So a revolving door on that side of the ball. But boy, have they done some job tonight against Drew Brees, who gets jostled, incomplete. The other thing, too, the Broncos have known how to finish games this year. They have now outscored the opposition in the fourth quarter this year 89-6. And those 6 came on opening night when we were here against Pittsburgh on a touchdown pass from Roethlisberger to Mike Wallace and a missed 2-point conversion. That's it. 2nd and 10. Breeze to Graham, and Graham gets wrestled down at the 40-yard line. First down. Broncos, the strength of schedule, the first 6 games, the combined winning percentage for the opponents, the highest in the NFL. Now what happens, and we'll show you that in a second, from the 40. And so they've gotten through that part of the schedule, and now the rest of the schedule, take a look at this. They will face, over their last 10 games, counting this one, the combined record of those teams, the worst in the NFL.
I mean, really, the game against Baltimore, the only one that sticks out to make you go, oh boy, that might be a tough one. And the rest of them, you've got to believe, after the way they're playing here tonight, they're going to at least be favored.
So they've gone from, in a manner of speaking, the hardest first 6 games to the easiest last 10. But every coach will tell you, nothing's easy. We've heard that 8 million times, 9 million.
But in fairness, everybody wanted to see Peyton Manning. He's been on primetime television. You want to see him with the new team. And, it looks like a no-brainer decision now. But Peyton Manning couldn't throw the football, probably, at least very far, when they had to make the call on whether they're going to pay him $20 million or not.
Right.
And John Elway was talking about it when it said, when I first saw him and he just got released by Indianapolis, he was so upset. I didn't even recruit him. I just tried to console him a little bit.
And Breeze gets hit as he throws, and it's 4th down. Of course, this was the team last year that won 6 straight at one point. Breeze says, let's go for it. What do we have to lose here? Looks over to the bench, and they will. But this was the town with Tebow mania last year. Tebow just pulling out amazing victories, and they got him to the playoffs. And then the pass to Thomas in the playoff game to send him to New England.
But didn't you get the feeling that John Elway was never quite comfortable with the idea of Tebow being his quarterback?
Correct, Amundo.
And maybe a little bit of that whole process and the desperation to get Peyton, because they just really felt like they wanted to go another direction.
Meanwhile, Breeze and the play clock had expired, but there's no delay, and then he throws, and it's Colston making the catch, and that will be a first down. So Breeze, they got away with one there because the play clock was at 0 when they snapped it.
And watch Jim Leonard come off the edge here, and is going to get a big shot on Drew Brees, but Brees still able to fit that one in. But I tell you, the experience of John Fox playing against Drew Brees, I think, has been a huge factor in this game.
And that pass, unable to one-hand it, is Graham. And it will be 2nd and 10. We mentioned earlier that Fox facing Breeze 9 times when Carolina faced New Orleans through the years, and he was 5-4 against them, 6-4 against the Saints in head-to-head matchups with Sean Payton.
Well, one of the things that Fox was worried about was the ability of Drew Brees to throw those middle reads, those balls down the middle like we just saw to Jimmy Graham, and they throw him back shoulder, they throw him front shoulder, all these different things. They have been all over that play tonight.
Juggled snap, Sproles, and tries to turn it back inside, runs right into Derek Wolfe.
Aren't you impressed with that guy?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Derek Wolfe, I remember watching him playing at the University of Cincinnati, and he hustled nonstop. Chris Long is the guy he reminded me of coming out. And when Chris Long was playing in college, you just saw him flying around all over the place. And that's the way Wolf plays as well. And the ability to get some inside pressure. You know, you think of J.J. Watt and what he's doing for Houston. But that ability with these two outside pass rushers is going to make this a dynamic defense.
Picked in the second round, 36th overall choice. And action up front.
Offense number 74. 5-yard penalty, still third down.
Left tackle Bushrod moving, making it 3rd and 20.
But the other guys that's really impressed me, and I think Wesley Woodyard is, I think that position is his, even when DJ Williams comes back. He has been that good out here so far. But some of these other guys as well. Danny Trevathan, the ability to in coverage. Chris Harris, Tony Carter, they've got good young players in key positions now.
And getting better by the week, 3rd and 20. Breeze throws, and that'll be Moore who will go out of bounds, but it will be 4th down coming up. 4th and 8.
It's startling, though, to see the Saints offense shut down like this by anybody.
Saints averaging 29 points per game coming in. Limited to 7 tonight. Limited to 210 total yards. Less than 4 yards per play. And Breeze, as he throws, Sproles is able to break a tackle, and that will move the chains and keep possession of the football for the Saints with 3 minutes to go.
Every time I see Darren Sproles make a play, I always think of Phillip Rivers when we talked to him, and he said, it just makes me sick to watch him playing for the New Orleans Saints. And even Peyton Manning, remember last year, he said, how does Drew Brees get Darren Sproles? I mean, he was clearly upset by the fact that his great quarterback had a new weapon like Darren Sproles.
Well, probably just as sick that Vincent Jackson is in Tampa right now, too. This is Pierre Thomas working his way inside the 25 to the 24-yard line. So this was the matchup tonight. Up on the marquee, the two guys, and it's been the man on the right with a great night. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. The only sack in the game belongs to the Broncos sacking Breeze at one time. And it's been domination. This is Thomas, we mentioned before, among the league leaders in yards after contact, as he's able to move the pile a lot. To the 18 he goes, and we tick down to the 2-minute warning. From the 18. And Graham makes the catch in the end zone for the touchdown. So a little garbage time touchdown for Graham. And they go 80 yards in 13 plays.
Well, here's that middle read we were talking about, and they finally get it. Mike Adams, the safety, is the underneath coverage guy, but you know, we're so used to seeing Drew Brees just hit that play time after time, and yet when he's gone to it in this game, because of the focus from John Fox and coaching that play in this game, it's really caused the Saints to punt the football more than they're used to.
Saints tonight have punted the ball 8 times. Off of Graham coming back off the ankle. 5 catches, 63 yards. So next week we go to Atlanta. Tony Romo and the Dallas Cowboys losing a heartbreaker today against the undefeated Atlanta Falcons. And there is what happened. Giants had a 23-0 lead. Dallas scored 24 unanswered points. Then the Giants got a couple of field goals to take the lead. Des Bryant almost made a miraculous touchdown catch in the waning seconds, but he was out of bounds. His hand was out of bounds. And the Giants go home with a win. Dallas goes to Atlanta with a 3-4 record, and we take a look at Matt Ryan and company on Sunday Night Football next week.
Well, what does John Madden say? You are what your record says you are, and Right now, the Atlanta Falcons, the best team in football. And I think people dismiss them a little bit because of the fact that they have not had playoff success. The one time they did have the home field advantage in the playoffs, the Green Bay Packers came in and got them. But I tell you, they're looking better and better.
Well, next week on a Monday night, the Saints go home and meet Philadelphia.
Loser go home.
Yeah. And then they have Atlanta on November 11th and again on November the 29th. So we talked about the Saints and trying to get back in the wild, at least in the playoff final. We were talking about wild card, obviously, because the chances of winning the division are next to zilch. And the NFC South, onside kick attempt here. And that'll be covered up by Eric Decker. And we still have not reached the 2-minute warning yet. But we will.
Eventually here. You know, the one guy we haven't really talked about, though, is Sean Payton. And, you know, with Sean Payton, the Saints have won 65% of their games, 4 playoff games, 1 Super Bowl. Without him in their history, they win at a 40% rate and only 5 playoff games in 39 years, and obviously no Super Bowls. And Drew Brees spent a lot of time talking about the relationship and all the things that Sean Payton brings to the table. But this is not the team we're used to seeing.
Meanwhile, Brock Osweiler is in the game. We take a look at the rookie drafted in the 2nd round. He's 6'8", played his college football at Arizona State, and he'll be allowed to come in and take them to the finish line. Earlier this year, he was in for a kneel down, and he'll take us to the wire in a game where Denver's up by 20.
Let's stay humble. Let's stay hungry. 1, 2, 3.
One stands alone.
Touchdown! Another laser to Roddy White.
The Falcons are the team to beat.
7-0, baby. Let's go get 8-0.
Perfect atop the NFC.
To the outside he goes.
Are these boys up to a primetime performance?
For the touchdown.
Tony Romo playing the best game of his career.
On Sunday Night Football.
That's next week. Meanwhile, the Wendy's postgame report. Michelle will have Peyton Manning, and she'll also have Champ Bailey as well. And Demarius Thomas, and then Bob and Tony breaking it down. Chris and I looking ahead to next Sunday night. So it's 2nd down and 9 from the 48. And Osweiler will just turn and give the ball to Ronnie Hillman. We'll see a lot of action tonight. The San Diego State rookie, 14 carries, 86 yards. Broncos tonight. Manning is Manning, and McGahee with 122 yards on the ground. Thomas, 7 catches and a 20-yard average. And they have rushed the ball, have the Denver Broncos, for a total of 226 yards tonight. And second quarterback, 300 or more yards and 3 TD passes in 4 straight games. Only Steve Young has done that in the past. And we'll go down to the final minute, and a smiling Manning, and the Denver Broncos for the first time this year have won back-to-back games. Tough to see this one coming for that Saints offense, and the fact they've been shut down, and Jimmy Graham and the gang will go back home and take on the Philadelphia Eagles a week from tomorrow.
I'll tell you, watching Willis McGahee tonight and his performance made me think of a young man from South Carolina, this Marcus Lattimore, who had a devastating injury in that game yesterday. But I thought of McGahee. Remember how he was hurt in that championship game, drafted, and then had to sit out a year. And look at him now, 31 years old and still going. So, Marcus, a lot of football fans around the country thinking about you and hoping it all turns out just like it did for Willis McGahee.
Yeah, I was watching that on television yesterday, and the guys were talking about that exact same thing. And hope the result is the same. So Colquitt comes in to punt on 4th down. The Saints will head back to Louisiana with a mark of 2 wins and 5 losses to take on Philly. And Denver next week will go to Cincinnati. Fair catch call for made by Sproles at the 13-yard line.
You know, I'd be hard-pressed to point out what I thought the flaw was in the Broncos right now. And they're so battle-tested after the teams they had to play after the first 7 games. Get a guy like Keith Brooking come in there, sort of solidify the run game. It's a good-looking team right now. It really is.
You know, Breeze is one of those guys who reminds me of when Steve Young, I think, was losing 40-8 at one point, and George Seifert tried to pull him, and he said, not a chance. And here is Breeze. He just doesn't, it may be a junk play, it means nothing, but he's going to take them to the finish line with a kneel down.
Like a captain going down with the ship.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. That's why you're making the big bucks. That was very good.
See you at the bar.
Yeah. And so the Denver Broncos dominate and win the game. The final score is 34-14. And coming up next, it'll be the Wendy's post-game report. Michelle with a trio of Broncos stars as Manning and Cris exchange pleasantries. And that's coming up after these messages from your local NBC station.
Welcome to the Wendy's post-game report. Here now, Bob Costas.
Impressive performance by the Broncos tonight pushes them into first place in the AFC West and pretty much pushes the Saints at 2-5 to the brink. Our players of the game, Peyton Manning, obviously 22 of 33 TDs. Demaryius Thomas caught 7 of them, a touchdown for him as well, and Champ Bailey was part of an outstanding defensive effort that bottled up Drew Brees. Bailey and Manning are down on the field with Michelle.
Well, Peyton, a little bit of a scare just before halftime when your hand hit that helmet. What happened? How's the thumb?
Yeah, I mean, that's always kind of a quarterback's biggest fear is a hand on a helmet. But I think it's just the fingernail, actually. It'll be sore tomorrow, but wasn't too bad. I was able to play in the second half.
You have been looking for a complete game out of this team. And how did this one measure up to what you've been hoping for?
Well, I'm sure the coaches will find some mistakes on the film, Michelle, but it sure was close. Coming off the bye week, we thought we should be better. Guys were rested. We corrected some things that were giving us trouble throughout the first few games and really came out offensively and defensively and special teams. I thought pretty much played a complete game.
This was your 5th consecutive game with 300 yards passing, which I'll note is a Broncos franchise record. And when you consider Elway played here, that's something. How far have you come in these 7 games?
Well, I think our team has come far, especially offensively, as far as what I'm doing every day. Our receivers, I have a better rapport with them. Our offensive line has a better feel for what plays they like. Willis and Ryan did a great job running the ball tonight. That sure opened up some passing lanes. So I think the team is really maturing. Hopefully we can just keep that going.
Yeah, and you mentioned Demaryius Thomas, who's standing right next to you. The two of you do seem to be getting in a groove. You're getting in a groove with all your receivers.
Well, these guys are very talented, and the more repetitions, the more situations we're in, the more we should improve. Demaryius played great tonight, and sure am proud of him.
Congratulations, Peyton.
Thank you, Michelle.
Let's turn to Demaryius. The receivers played a very good game tonight. And as Peyton said, you two really seem to be communicating better, getting on the same page. What enabled that tonight? How far have you guys come in these 7 weeks?
You know, it's just it get better and better every week. And, you know, I just feel like, you know, the more repetition, the better it get. The more repetition, the better it get. And tonight, you know, we had a couple, you know, they were trying to stop the run the whole game. And, you know, we had some wide open lanes for the receivers. So, you know, that's going to help us out more if it's more one-on-one.
You have mentioned that at practice, Peyton will often coach you as though you're in kindergarten. How do you see that now translating into the games?
So it's great. You know, one of the routes I was telling you about, I asked him to score the touchdown on it. And, you know, it just get better and better every week. You know, we sit down, we talk, you know, I do the things he want me to do. And, you know, I just get better and better, more repetition.
Demaryius, congratulations. Let's turn to Champ Bailey, who we spoke to before the game. And Champ, you had said against this offense, we just have to do our jobs. You held Drew Brees to 213 yards passing. How were you guys so effective?
You know, I got to give a lot of credit to our front. I mean, our coaches made great calls, and the boys up front were just playing nasty and hungry. And that's what I tell them every week, man. I'm leaning on you. I'm leaning on you. And they show up every week, and I got to give a lot of credit to those guys.
Champ, you've been through a lot of ups and downs with this team. Right now, you're 4-3. How do you see yourself with the toughest part of your schedule behind you? How do you see the rest of this season playing out?
You know, I really don't know. One game at a time. We really can't look past our next opponent because you never know, man. Teams get hot, they get cold. You never know. You got to show up every week ready to do your job, and that's how we got to take it.
Well, your defense showed up tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you, man.
Bob?
All right, Michelle, thanks to you and your interview subjects. Let's bring in Tony Dungy. Tony, your reaction to tonight's game and your old quarterback's performance tonight.
Well, I thought Peyton was outstanding, Bob, and you heard him talk about rapport. You heard Demaryius Thomas talk about repetitions, and that's what I saw tonight. You saw a team that was in sync. He knows some of his old teammates, but guys like Willis McGahee understanding when they're going to get the ball and the timing that has to be perfect. Eric Decker, how am I going to run this corner route? What angle am I going to come out at? And you're starting to see this just look better and better, and I've got some bad news for the rest of the AFC. I think Peyton Manning, his performance is going to improve as the season goes on. I've seen him get a team on 8, 9, 10-game winning streaks, and I think that could happen for Denver.
Well, let's turn our attentions to your old team and Peyton's old team, Indianapolis. What do you think about Andrew Luck and what he did today?
Well, he's been outstanding all year, and today winning a game in overtime, he's just been special for them. And there was a lot of concern about Luck. How was he going to handle the comparisons of playing in Peyton Manning's shoes? But he's been great. He's found Reggie Wayne and got that chemistry going with him. But the thing he's given them is the belief that they can win every game. So as tough as it was getting rid of Peyton Manning, letting him go, I think Jim Irsay made the right call because he's got a franchise quarterback who's going to be there for the next 10 years and who is going to be a great one.
Thank you, Tony. And they beat the Titans in overtime today, and they took their record to 4-3, speaking of the Colts. Tune in to the all-new Pro Football Talk, folks, every weekday at 5 p.m. on the NBC Sports Network. That's it, network, presented by Chevrolet. Alan Cris back to wrap things up after this.
Welcome back to the Wendy's post-game report. Here now, Al Michaels and Cris Collinsworth.
Power poll every week. Everybody ranks the teams 1 through 32. Little doubt right now which team is number one. We see them next week against Dallas.
Yeah, and they can do so many things well. And you know, Julio Jones is healthy in a way that he wasn't. You know, Roddy White, Tony Gonzalez, the ageless wonder back there. Mike Nolan now the defensive coordinator. They're legit. I mean, they are the legitimate best team in football right now.
The Atlanta Falcons. I'll tell you who's in the top 10 right now on the power polls. The Denver Broncos.
You know, with a bullet, too, because you get the feeling that the best is about to happen for this football team.
See you in Dixie next week. Cowboys, Falcons on Sunday Night Football. 34-14, our final scores tonight in Denver as the Broncos knock off the New Orleans Saints. So until next week, Al Michaels, Cris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya, our gang, headed by Fred Gaudelli, Drew Esikoff, Malibu Kelly Hayes with us tonight on his way back to Aspen, saying good night from Denver.
NBC Sports thanks you for watching this presentation of the National Football League.